What up? It's your boy Q from Samsung Q, and I'm here back with another video. Today, I was going to talk about one of the things that people ask me all the time. One of the questions that I get most of the time when I'm out doing my Samsung thing. People ask me all the time, especially around this time of year where we have the Note 20 Ultra and we have the S21 Ultra, and a lot of people are like, "Man, which one should I buy?" Like it's a bunch of different reasons why somebody would choose one over the other. For me, I will tell you that for me, I've always had a soft spot for the Note series phones. They're my favorite Samsung phones. The Samsung Note 20 Ultra here is my daily driver. Is the one that I use every day. But I also am very impressed with the 2021's offering of the S series flagship phone, because it has a lot to offer as well. Off the bat, like before we get into the full breakdown, what kind of people would these phones kind of attract or whatever? Because it used to be where people, like if you were a business person or somebody who was a student or somebody who kind of did a lot more productivity stuff with their phones versus just using it for entertainment and this telephone calls and communication, the Note was perfect. But over the years, the Note kind of got to the point where it started to become very similar to its S series counterpart. And really the only thing that really separated it was the fact that the Note was known for its S Pen, right? A housed S Pen, an S Pen that goes inside the body of the phone, that's a very important point, that the S Pen does come included with the phone. It houses inside the phone, is with the phone all the time. Kind of made it special, right? One of the things that attracted me to it. S series phones, on the other hand, are known for being Samsung's flagship phones that come out at the beginning of the year. They always have whatever Samsung is working on, have been working on for the previous year, whatever it is they bringing new to the dance. They would bring it with the S series phone. The S series phone would always pretty much have the newer chipset, the newest feature that Samsung is playing around with at that particular time. And the newest innovations that Samsung was working on. So that's what would be in the S series phone. So that's what S series phones were known for. And the Notes were known for being the Samsung powerhouse, productivity, do all everything, big boy phone, right? And the way it would usually work is the S series phone would come out at the beginning of the year, and it would be dope and everybody would love it. And then whatever issues or shortcomings or improvements that could be made, by the time we got to the second half of the year, around the fall, when the Notes come out, those things would be addressed. Like for example, last year's S20 Ultra model, first Ultra phone from Samsung, very awesome. Was the first one to introduce the 108 megapixel sensor, really the periscope zoom camera, 100 times zoom, space zoom, all that cool stuff. But it had a flaw in the autofocus. Autofocus was a little bit weird on that phone. When the Note came out about 6 months later, one of the first things was addressed, because the Note 20 Ultra pretty much has the same camera array as the S20 Ultra, except it doesn't go all the way to 100 times zoom. It gets capped off at 50. But they changed the focus from the autofocus that they had before to a laser autofocus. So that autofocusing issue got corrected very, very quickly. And so that's how the cycle works, right? So, again, beginning of the year, S series phone comes out, flagship, has the newest and brightest, the bleeding edge of what Samsung had been working with from the prior year. All the new stuff, new chipset, new everything, gets presented at the beginning of the year, and the S series phone gets refined and put into a much more productivity-based product in the Note toward the end of the year, in the second half of the year. And that's how the cycle always worked, right? And for the longest time, that's kind of what we expected. There's a brief time there where the phones kind of blended a little bit. The times between like the Note 3 and the Note 7, the one that kind of had some issues. The Note version and the S series Plus versions at the time were very, very similar, except for like this S Pen has been the primary thing that kind of separated the phone. So that's a brief history of the differences between the two phones and kind of where they came from. Now we're going to answer the question that you really came here for. Which one is better for you? Which one should you pick? Which one should you get down with, right? So let's start with the Note 20 Ultra, my baby, the one that I love the most, right? So of course, 2020 was a weird year with the pandemic and all of that stuff. Samsung was going through some stuff because they didn't really get to really execute the S20 like they wanted to because of the pandemic and everything. But the saving grace of that year was the Note 20 Ultra. It was the best of everything the S20 line was, plus the S Pen features, plus we got 120 hertz refresh rate, which was very good for me. I love that that whole idea of all of that stuff. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, they addressed the autofocus issue. But here's the text. So this phone was announced on August 5th, 2020, and it was released shortly after on August 21st, that kind of thing. Screen, we'll go into the specs on it real quick. It has the dynamic AMOLED 2x 120 hertz HDR10 plus display, which is very bright, very vibrant. I absolutely love it. The 120 hertz is amazing. But one thing to note is that the 120 hertz feature on this particular phone is limited to the lower FHD this resolution, right? So in order to go into the motion smoothness, as we can see here, right now I have it on standard because I have it cranked all the way up to the QHD. But if I wanted to enjoy the 120 hertz refresh, I would have to go down to the FHD resolution and then go back up here to the motion smoothness, and then I can crank it up to adaptive and get that full 120 hertz refresh, but at a lower resolution from the phone. So it was a trade-off there. That was something that we had to kind of deal with, right? Also, this phone does have a SD card slot, right? So we did have that, and it's running on, and it shipped with Android 10. It was upgraded to Android 11. Shipped with One UI 3.0 was upgraded to 3.1. Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 5G Plus chipset, which was great for the time. It was good to go. Like I said, memory card slot was included. Internal storage was 128 gig with 12 gigs of RAM, and there was also a 256 gig and 512 gigabyte storage variant as well. As we get into the cameras, so the camera on this one, like I said, was pretty impressive. I actually like the camera a lot on the Note 20 Ultra. Like I said, right now it's one of the nicest phone cameras around, only outdone by his big brother here, and we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, so the main camera, the cameras that we're looking at here on the back, 108 megapixel sensor, like I mentioned earlier, f1.8 aperture on a wide lens, laser focus with OIS, optical image stabilization, 12 megapixel f3.0 120 nanometer periscope lens down here that gives us our periscope telephoto, PDAF, optical image stabilization, 5-time optical zoom, 50 times hybrid zoom. Also, it's got a 12 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide, the one we got right here, LED flash, and a 10 megapixel selfie shooter, right? Dual video, dual speakers, dual audio speakers, which is good. 4K res on the video, being able to shoot video at 30 and 60 frames per second. No headphone jack and that kind of thing. So that's what we were working with the Note 20 Ultra. And of course, one of the things with Note 20 Ultra that made it amazing is the S Pen. And the S Pen, again, housed inside the body of the phone, which made it special. And also full Bluetooth functionality, so you were able to use the S Pen to do things like launch the camera, zoom in and zoom out of certain situations, all that kind of cool stuff, which makes the pen on the Notes series phones super special. One of the most awesome features that you can find on a smartphone today, right? So that pretty much wraps up what we had to offer with the Note 20 Ultra. If you wasn't impressed with those specs, we'll get into the S21 Ultra next, right? So with all that being said, what I can say about the Note 20 Ultra is that It is a powerhouse, even for this late in its cycle, which means that, you know, as I'm making this video at the end of June, going into early July 2021, we had a situation where we may on the cusp of not having a note for 2021. So a video like this one is vital because some people may still see value in buying, buying the Note 20 Ultra right now. Now, as we move into the S21 Ultra, let's talk about that one for a second. And as we get into that one, so one thing I like about this one is the build quality. The build quality is amazing on this particular device. Samsung went all out with the build. There's a nice metal camera housing on it, which makes it super sleek and futuristic looking. I definitely like that. The weight on it is really beautiful because of the metal framing and everything on it. It makes it a little bit heavier than what we get with the Note 20 Ultra and that kind of thing, right? First thing that you notice off the rip with the S21 Ultra is the camera housing and how it has a quad camera setup on it. So unlike the Note 20 Ultra that had the wide, the ultra wide, and the wide, ultra wide, and the telephoto and the periscope zoom, this one also has a dual pixel sensor on it as well. Now, this phone was announced January 14th, just about 6 months ago. In 2021, released a couple weeks later on January 29th. That kind of thing. This thing sports a dynamic AMOLED, 2x 120 hertz HDR10 plus, 1500 nits peak brightness. Beautiful display. Absolutely love it. One of the best things I definitely like about this phone. The display on it is priceless. Resolution 1440 by 3200 pixels with a 20.9 ratio. And for people keeping track with the PPI, that's 515. Gorilla Glass Victus on the display. Beautiful thing. Shipped with Android 11, Android UI 3.1. And this also came with the new Snapdragon 888 5G chipset, that kind of thing, which is a beautiful thing with the GPU Adreno 660 GPU. This one does not, however, come, and that's one of the things that separate these two phones, does not come with a expandable storage memory slot. So no place to put an SD card in this phone, but the internals did come 128 gigabyte at starting at 8 gigabytes of RAM. For the Exynos models, the Americans we got to 128 gig at 12 gigabytes of RAM. Also, you can get it on 256 and 512, up to 16 gigabytes of RAM with UFS 3.1 on the internal file system there. The camera, nice, 108 megapixel sensor, same one from last year, f1.8 24 millimeters. Then a wide laser focus, which we saw implemented in from the Note 20 Ultra. OIS on the wide camera, 10 megapixel on the periscope telephoto, f4.9 on that one, 10 megapixel on the telephoto, 3 times optical zoom on that one, 12 megapixel on the dual pixel, f2.2 13 millimeters super steady video. This helps out with a lot of stuff. Now, one of the things I wanted to kind of show, which makes a big difference between the two cameras, is this dual pixel action here, right? So what I'm gonna display here is showing you how on the Note 20 Ultra, shooting video and everything on this camera was amazing, and it could do a whole lot of cool stuff. But one of the things that it fell short at is that the macro is shooting things up tight and up close. Nothing you could do to really get it to really focus when you were this close, right? One of the things I love about the S21 Ultra, and this is one of the cool things you can do with the camera, is that it kind of solves that problem. We can get all the way up in there, and you can see the focus enhancer comes on. That's being powered by that dual pixel camera. Keeps everything nice and sharp, even when you are super close to it like this. Absolutely love that feature. I think that's amazing. I think that's cool, right? So that's one of the things that's kind of nice. Other thing that's kind of cool, first time ever, S21 Ultra is the first S-series flagship that supports S Pen, right? So, you know, one of the things that made the Note special was its S Pen features, right? So you could pull your S Pen out and you can go on here and you can say, you know, I love, excuse my handwriting, notes. There we go, right? So that was one of the things that kind of made this phone kind of special. But now, first time ever, you can actually get the note feature on the S21 Ultra, right? So what you can do is with the same thing. Now the pen doesn't go in, it doesn't house inside the phone. And it's a lot bigger. This pen right here actually is the pen that goes to the Tab S7 Plus, but the pen for the S21 Ultra it's actually a lot bigger than the pen that goes inside the Note, but it's a lot smaller than this one. But as you can see, there's the Note, but I can take my pen and I can say stuff like, yep, sure, do, or whatever. Has all the functionality and things that are built in on the Notes platform. So all that stuff is the same. All that stuff works exactly the same exact way, except there is no Bluetooth functionality. So as of right now, the S Pen can only do things within the Notes app. So no launching the camera app, no skipping tracks on Spotify, no moving through PowerPoint presentations or anything like that. But the S Pen, as you can see, does work within the app, and you can also use it to control things. Like you can still kind of go and do things within the applications like this, but as far as being able to do the Bluetooth features and stuff, it does not do those things. So at the end of the day, which one is right for you? The the one that can handle everything, the all-around bad boy, or we can get some slightly stepped up features like what I didn't mention earlier, was the 120 hertz display. So again, on the Note, we couldn't do 120 hertz display at full WQHD plus resolution. As you can see, I'm on WQHD plus resolution here, but if I go back to my motions, I can actually still put the 120 hertz refresh on, which still gives me all the nice smooth motion, and I can get it at the highest resolution possible, which I could not do on the Note. So couple differences. Got to figure out what's important to you, what's not important to you. What would you rather do? The camera is beastly on both models. An extra 50 times zoom, I don't know how important that is. Usually once you go past 50 times, 5 times or 10 times zoom, really your picture starts to kind of look a little weird anyway. But if you want to do some real scumbaggish type of stuff and you want that 100 times zoom, this is the way to go. You're only gonna get it 50 here. If the S Pen functionality is something that you really truly must have, especially the remote control Bluetooth features, then you gotta go with the Note. You gotta do it. If you need bigger battery, brighter resolution, and you want your 120 hertz at full res, it's the way to go. So you can see how they can go back and forth. You can see how it can be a tough decision. For me, the decision is not hard at all. I'm a Note guy through and through. Every single time the Note is available, I am going to choose the Note. But that is just me. I'm your boy Big Q. This is Samsung Q. If you guys liked anything about this video, a sub to the channel would be amazing. We're just now starting out. We're trying to build some audience here. We definitely appreciate everybody who liked and shared the video. Make sure you hit the bell so you can see when I come out with a new video. Until next time, man, y'all take it easy and keep it gangsta. I'm out of here. Peace.